And along comes Donald Trump and says, well, he doesn't really care. Let them all have nuclear weapons.
Dishonesty. That's why we call her Crooked Hillary Clinton.
I've never heard such reckless, risky talk.
Hillary Clinton is a joke.
This is the talk of a loose cannon.
Hillary hurt many women.
Of course, he doesn't think much of women.
Did you hear Bernie Sanders say she suffers from bad judgment?
A lot of his rhetoric is not only reckless, it's dangerous.
Take a look at Hillary, the money. Take a look at where she's getting that money.
I've got 33 years of tax returns in the public domain, and, Donald Trump won't release his tax returns.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, bipeds, and those who should be checked for credentials before being allowed to step into a voting booth, buckle up, because we are in for one hell of a show between now and November. What we're seeing and hearing at the moment from Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton is verbal peanuts compared to the level of spit and bile we're going to experience in the presidential campaign race between the two, all of which will lead to messy moments in Philadelphia and Cleveland, and frankly, what's so wrong about that? But here's another one to chew on. Have ads such as what we're about to talk about already been left in the mental dust by those who have made up their minds and those who hear nothing more than the same old pitter and patter of verbal cliches? Welcome to the land of no cliches, which places us in rarefied air when it comes to other news talk programs and bilious hosts of bile. Time once again for the political animal. Welcome back the senior political contributor at Forbes, whose voice can be heard bouncing off the heavens after it leaves the Sirius XM satellite channel at POTUS 124. Weeknights, co-host of Steele Ungar, whoever this Steele person is, Rick Ungar, and the former head of FEMA, whose voice can be heard bouncing off the Rocky Mountains after it leaves the transmitter of 630 KHOW in Denver, Colorado, weekday afternoons, Michael Brown. Gentlemen, welcome in. Let's get to work. I'm going to play for you both the most current attack ads from the two candidates. I'm going to come back, and I want from both of you your one-word reaction to the ads. First of all, Donald Trump's new ad, is Hillary really protecting women? Here we go.
I was very nervous.
No woman should be subjected to it. It was an assault.
He starts to bite on my top lip, and I try to pull away from him.
A lot of alleged in there. I do not allege this. Here's the one-word response, Rick Ungar.
Can I make it 2 words and just say too soon?
Okay. Mr. Brown?
I was going to say sewer rat, but that's 2 words.
Okay, well, we're close enough then. We'll make them compound words. We'll make that easy. All right, here we go next. Priorities USA, the Hillary Super PAC. This is on Donald Trump's reluctance to reveal his tax returns. Again, one word coming back. Here we go.
That you would release your tax return. Are you going back on your
No, I'm not.
commitment?
First of all, very few people listen to your radio show. That's the good news. Mitt Romney didn't file his return until September 21st of 2012. I can't do it until the audit is finished.
What is your tax rate?
It's none of your business.
Michael Brown, to you first.
Well, look, Trump at some point is going to have to release the taxes.
No. One word, young man. One word.
Go for 2.
Go for 1 or 2. Go ahead.
Sewer rat again.
Okay, 2 sewer rats. That's nice. I raise you one that doesn't come from the bile of the sewer. Rick Ungar, one word from you.
2 words from me with, you may need an explanation, but the 2 words are Leona Helmsley.
It needs no explanation from those who understand. Very nice New York reference. Very nice indeed. Guys, look, we've heard these now. We're going to hear more. When does this all just become white noise, Mike, to the point where nobody's really hearing anything? It's going to get dirtier, but it's all going to be for laughs instead of really telling anybody anything about politics or becoming president.
Oh, I think it's white noise now. We're so far away. We haven't even gotten to the conventions yet. Nobody's going to really pay attention to anything, maybe till mid-August, late August. Everything right now is being driven by social media. It's being driven by the earned media that Trump gets. It is all white noise right now. Everybody should just take a deep breath.
All right, Rick, let's take a deep breath now, but let's also realize that this is just the beginning, as I said. How much nastier can they get? I mean, we have a lot of alleged already going on here. We have a lot of guesses going on here, but it just seems to me like if we get any dirtier on this, we're going to walk right into R-rated material on the nightly news.
Yeah, well, they're both holding back some nasty stuff, I know. But I do think, that's why I said too soon. I think Trump is kind of going a little too early on these punches. And by the time we get to when it matters, which is post-Labor Day, it's going to be burnt out. Hillary so far is being a little more responsive. The tax issue is not a bad one to play. You got articles today saying that Trump may not be releasing them because legally he didn't pay any taxes, but that won't look so good. I'm not sure that that's using up her best stuff. I do think Trump is using up some of his best stuff before he should be.
Mike, I think that's a good point here because, look, Donald Trump and the ad that he has out here right now, isn't it going after the people that he's already got, quite frankly? Those are the ones that will vote for him sight unseen.
Absolutely. And the thing that's driving me nuts on the Republican side is, tell me, I would challenge anybody to tell me, what kind of ground game does Trump have right now? You can't do that. We've got to get out the vote. We've got to worry about the down ballot. We have a general election coming up. We need to raise a boatload of money. Where is the organization? Where's the strategy? I don't think we have one yet.
You both hit on something really important. Trump is still campaigning to the base. He has not made the switch to the general. I don't know if he can.
Well, wait a minute now.
I wonder the same thing.
Okay, if he can, what does he then have to do? Because I'll come to you first on this one, Rick. You brought up the point. In order to get to the general, let's forget for the moment that he has no ground game. There's still a money issue that's involved here. But let's talk about how he approaches the people once he hits the actual ground running here with the nomination.
Well, he starts by finding out what those undecideds, the people who don't identify as Trump-based or Hillary-based, are what they want to hear. He needs to know what they want to hear. I'm pretty darn sure they don't want to hear the stuff that's being slung around right now. He has to find out what it was. I think he's going to find that it's a bit more issue-oriented, and that is always a challenge for Trump, but he's going to have to develop some talking points that do actually talk about issues.
Mike, that brings up a good point. The undecideds, the independents, and the people who already say, no way, Donald Trump, how's he going to bring them into the boat?
Well, he's going to have to start addressing issues. I've always maintained that politicians make a huge mistake when they believe that the American public either doesn't want the truth or can't handle the truth. I mean, I just think they need to start talking about serious issues. We have a serious problem with the economy. We've got serious, foreign affairs issues. And he really hasn't addressed any of those things yet, except in these kind of broad strokes, again, to Rick's point, that play only to the base.
Let's talk about something else serious. Bernie Sanders came out and said, of course the convention is going to be messy. That's what democracy is all about. However, then they came back, they asked him again, and Bernie Sanders had to clarify his comments about what he means by a messy convention. Here he is.
The media often takes words out of context. The context of that was that democracy is messy, that people will have vigorous debate on the issues.
Will the convention be messy?
Well, of course it will be. But everything, that's what democracy is about.
Rick, I'll tell you what, don't back up, Bernie. I mean,
yeah, but
in many ways, you're right. It's going to be messy, and maybe it should be.
It's the second time today, the first being when he was talking about when he said lesser of two evils, that he's blaming it on the media taking it out of context. I listened to precisely what he had to say on both of those points, and no, the media is not taking it out of context. Bernie Sanders is getting desperate for all the reasons that we all know, and he's starting to turn into the one great thing that he wasn't, a politician.
Is that just that simple, Mike? Is that he's become a politician now? He said he wasn't going to be, but when you look at it, the attack ads, the way he's going at things, I'm going to stick in here and I'm going to make things messy. He's just another hack politician at the bottom of the day.
Absolutely. And I think when you reach that point of desperation in a campaign, when your internal polls show that you're not going to do it, when the media says you're not going to be able to get the nomination, but yet you're enamored with the crowd, you're enamored with all of the excitement and the attention that you get, politicians can't let go of that, and that turns into desperation.
I got less than a minute to go. Retired Army General Wesley Clark said this morning it is hard to grasp Donald Trump's position on the issues. Here's what he said.
The problem is that no one really knows what Donald Trump stands for. I mean, he's made very clear he'll say anything to get publicity and to get elected, and no one knows what it means.
Yeah, but Rick, does it make a difference what he says?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any breaking news in what the general had to say. We all know that that's the case. But as you say, it may not make a difference what he has to say. And in the interest of fairness, it should be pointing out that Wesley Clark is a Democrat.
Okay, very nice. Good point to make for fair. 30 seconds to you, Mike. Let's see. Gun-free zones, guns in the schools, climate change, although it's really fake unless it affects his golf course. 10 seconds. What does he stand for?
I have no clue.
Okay.
I wish he would just shut up and get focused on a strategy and a ground game. That's my message for the day. And I'm sticking to it.
There's the message of the day. The message of the day is Michael Brown, Rick Ungar. Thank you so much, gentlemen. The Political Animal will be back next week. Stay with us. The Hard Line will continue.